I grew up in the foothills of a large mountain range, and I started hiking at a fairly young age. One afternoon in my early teens, I decided to go out alone as my usual hiking friend was busy with a family commitment. I called and left a message for her to where I would be, just in case she got home early and wanted to meet me out there. This was in the days of answering machines. As this was essentially our backyard, I always felt safe and comfortable. Approximately 2 miles in was a draw, which was a pretty popular place for us to hike onto due to a waterfall and a pretty stream. I was there for like 10 minutes when I looked up at the east ridge. Through a clearing in the woods, I saw what I thought was my friend walking through the bush, so I called out to her. However, it was most definitely not my friend. The person, I'm pretty sure it was a woman, but I really couldn't tell for sure, backed up to the clearing of the trees and turned to face me. The look on her face terrified me. It was simultaneously malicious and gleeful. Something in my brain just told me to run. I made it back to our house within minutes, where my brother eventually found me lying in the grass. I'm pretty sure I was passed out for a few seconds from not breathing during my sprint home. Now I called the police and all, but unfortunately they couldn't find her. My friend also arrived, but what could I tell her? I only told her my story, and she didn't know what I was talking about. So after a few hours, I just forgot about it. Even years later now, I sometimes think about that woman, and it freaks me out just seeing her face through those trees. I was hiking through the remnants of a remote, long abandoned town and the surrounding areas. To get as far as I was into the woods, you had to cross fallen trees over a creek 3 times. I had just crossed the 3rd bridge and was about 5 miles in, when something blue caught my eye just up ahead. There was a man, in his 60s at least, wearing blue satin pajamas, sitting in a tree. The closer I got to him, the louder he laughed. It wasn't a maniacal laugh, but it did set off alarms in my head. He was also not wearing any shoes, and he looked well groomed and cleaned. Nothing was adding up here. I gave him a friendly nod as I passed, and he just kept laughing. As soon as I passed him, the laughter stopped. I turned around, and to my shock, he was gone. There was no branch cracking, plants rustling, nothing. He was just gone. What freaked me out was the part that there was just somebody 1 second ago, and now there was no one. He couldn't have gone anywhere that fast. It was an open area, and he couldn't even jump down to the tree without me knowing. Still, I think something was wrong. The area that I was in was a pretty rough hike, very secluded. Not very many people ventured down as deep as I was that day. I have no idea what he was doing down there. Anyway, I didn't hike any further. I turned around and ran back a lot of the way. When I got about 2 miles, I was nearly done. I ran so much only because I'm a fit guy. Like I said, I don't have any idea what he was doing down there. I even reported it to the local sheriff, but he didn't even bother coming, because of course he wasn't going to find anyone. It was so big. Around a year ago, my buddy was having a birthday party for his daughter in a park near us. The whole family was there. We had a good time. After a bit, we decided to go off into the woods to hike where a fort had been when we were kids. This was in a chunk of woods that was still pretty big, but surrounded by a highway and roads on all sides. Anyway, we hike a bit, and my friend stopped dead in his tracks. He points towards forward. He says, "Do you see that? The lady floating." We all looked and saw. From our view, it really did look like someone was levitating off the ground. We got closer and realized what was really going on. A lady has hung herself in the woods, and it didn't seem long ago by the looks of it. After getting ourselves together, we called the police. They came and found the lady's car parked on the other side of the park, door still open. She had done it that day only, many hours prior though. I've seen some messed up stuff, but that will always take the cake. One of my rare trips out into the wilderness. I was walking in the middle of nowhere. I was looking for a place to rest, and it was beginning to turn dark. Light enough to keep going for a while, but the shadows were deepening, and the edges of the trail were too dark to see properly. As I walked, I heard a sheep buying. At first, it didn't strike me as unusual, because on the surface, hearing a sheep in the country doesn't seem out of place. Then, I hear it again, and again, and again, directly from the shadows to my left. Then, two things hit me at once. One, this is way too deep into the wilderness, and there's no farmland around me. Two, the sheep sounds are too perfect. It sounds like somebody had been doing this on purpose, like somebody was doing a very good impersonation of the sheep. But as I hear it again, I realize it's the same pitch and length each time, like a recording. The more I hear it, the more unnerving it gets. I continue to walk past, and not even a few seconds later, I catch a glimpse of a figure crouched in the bushes just off the trail, and a flash of teeth as I assume whoever or whatever was there grinned at me. I didn't stop anywhere that night. I just ran. I didn't care what was there. I didn't care how tired I was or how hungry I was. I just ran. I made it out the woods within 15 minutes somehow. I called the police, but they couldn't really do anything, as this was a huge forest, and how much could they search? Even now, I still get creeps thinking about that time.